It's time for Health Coach with Dr. John Catanzaro from the Health and Wellness Institute just north of Seattle in Bothell.
And it is time once again for Health Coach with Dr. John Catanzaro. He leads the team there at the Health and Wellness Institute now in Bothell. And we have the man himself, Dr. John, today. Hi, Dr. John.
Hello. Glad to be here today.
Good to have you in studio. I haven't seen you in a while in person. And have you been fatigued while we've been gone? Because that's kind of what you're going to be talking about.
Yes, I've had some pretty good amount of fatigue, and I have reasons for that because, we moved into our new location.
Oh, that's stressful.
It was, a couple of years in the making here. So we finally got in. We've been in for about 8 weeks now, and it's a very, very nice clinic. We're really excited to be there. So yes, to answer that question, I have been fatigued, but I've been
stressed.
And stressed.
You're talking about those two today.
But I did have a chance to get away to get to Maui there for about 12 days.
You did get a chance.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that gave us some time.
Help.
I didn't bring my cell phone. I didn't bring my laptop. I brought, the old fashioned book to read.
There you go.
I had like 3 or 4 different books that I brought with me to just, replenish and nurture. Spent lots of time with my wife and it was just really a great time.
We all need that to get out of stress and out of fatigue. And you want to talk about stress and fatigue, I guess, and what natural ways to deal with this. Obviously, reading a book's pretty natural, but what else?
Absolutely. Okay, so when you talk about stress, a lot of the times people don't realize how much they're caught up in stress in a day. Our body obviously works on a 24-hour rhythm, so we are on a clock. And because we're on this clock at certain times of the day, we may have some very, very heavy times of stress, and when we actually have that day after day after day with no break in the cycle, we wind up finding ourselves having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. Mm-hmm. So if you actually find yourself, where you're just dragging and your body seems heavy and you don't seem like you have a whole lot of motivation, you can't make it to your workouts every day, maybe not getting to the gym as regularly, then you are experiencing some really, fatigue, a good amount of fatigue related to stress.
Yes. So, of course, God built in the Sabbath and making sure you get at least one day a week with rest. I would think you. That's correct. You're into that. So.
Yes, absolutely. That rest day is essential for our rest and recovery. And on that day, we should not be really doing anything that's going to be, looking at our daily business that we do Monday through Friday. Because when you think about it, we're constantly activated and engaged, okay? So especially with today's digital technology, we're constantly, available. We're always, looking at our texts, our emails. We're taking notes, doing this and doing that. And before you know it, at the end of the day, we're pretty much electronic fatigue too. So I say, one day a week when you're having a complete rest and recovery day with no technology, really important to do.
So technology, get rid of that too. For your
absolutely.
It's
like if you don't have a break in the technology and you're just running to your laptop, running to your cell phone. The cell phones are such now where you got your laptop right in front of you on a small screen, right? Mm-hmm. So, those type of things there do not really assist you in helping in recovery. If you're reading a book on your cell phone, but how many times do we stray on our cell phones when we start looking at other things?
Right.
And it's kind of like your original purpose of trying to get focused doesn't.
So stay with the real paper book instead.
Stay with the paper book. Just get the paper book out and just turn the pages, for goodness sakes. It's just something about it's more relaxing,
What about now? So sleep rhythm, you're talking about being a 24-hour clock. What if somebody finds that they are off rhythm there?
There's ways
insomnia.
of actually. That's a very good question because there are ways of actually checking your actual 24-hour rhythm of cortisol. Now, cortisol is actually a hormone, and Dr. Arch Hart actually talks about this in his book, The Stress and the Adrenal Response. It's really, there's a test that can look at the 24-hour rhythm of your cortisol to see where your highest stress points are over 24 hours. A lot of the times people, what we see is they come into a high cortisol secretion pattern in the morning. And that means that when they're getting up in the morning and they're coming up high on cortisol, they're going to really feel drained, tired before they even start their day. And there are ways of correcting that cortisol hypersecretion is what it's called. And you can actually use various type of nutrients, B vitamins, amino acids, those type of things to help replenish and get the hormonal systems that are responsible for regulating the cortisol back in sync. Because what happens is that with the stress, it knocks it out, depletes all the cortisol, and it knocks the cortisol secretion cycle off, and then it dramatically affects your adrenal response.
Well, if people are having problems with stress and fatigue, how do they get in touch with you there at the Health and Wellness Institute?
You can go to hwifc.com on the website. It has all of our contact information there.
Okay, and more details as well at kcisradio.com. This has been Health Coach with Dr. John Catanzaro on KCIS.
You've been listening to Health Coach with Dr. John Catanzaro from the Health and Wellness Institute just north of Seattle in Bothell. For more information, visit ehealthandhealing.com or hwicancerresearch.org or call 425-697-6112. You can also listen to past programs at kcisradio.com.